Welcome to the second show in a series looking at the tragic events of the death of Robert Saylor. Saylor was born with Down syndrome. On January 12, 2013, he died after it was alleged that he was forcibly removed from this movie theater by 3 off-duty Frederick County police officers. The case was ruled a homicide. In the first show, I spoke to the past president of ARC of Washington County, Gary Rohr. He had this to say. What can be done, do you think, to prevent this happening again?
Well, I'm far from an expert, but as a parent of Down syndrome, the bare minimum, law enforcement officers be given some type of overview or training identifying Down syndrome and understanding the way they basically function or think.
Gary's concern was training. So how much training are law enforcement given? While the Frederick County Sheriff's Office were very helpful in providing information, they declined to appear in today's show. So I headed to Frederick City to hear about their initiatives. Welcome to Insight.
Each year, we have what's called a mandated hourly training as sent down by the Maryland Police Training Commission. Those hours, as the state requires, are 18 hours. The Frederick Police Department goes above and beyond those 18 hours. We require our officers at minimum to receive 42 hours of continuous training. And within that training, that includes use of a firearm, use of force training, includes dealing with individuals with mental illness, includes a whole myriad of training topics.
Frederick City Police also work in collaboration with the Way Station to provide additional officer training.
The Way Station is a not-for-profit organization that's located in downtown Frederick. They minister, they help, they provide guidance and resources to the mentally ill population within Frederick City, Frederick County. Our teamwork with this not-for-profit organization goes into an organization or a collective body we call the Frederick County Mental Health Collaborative. Within that collaborative, we meet quarterly to discuss mental health issues, issues that are brought to the Way Station's attention about the way police departments may be dealing with the mentally ill. We provide them background guidance, information about our training, the things we have to do to maintain safety not only for the client or the person that we're dealing with on the street, but also everybody surrounding that issue. So that teamwork and that cooperation, as I said, happens quarterly. Training occurs from the Way Station professionals to our police officers.
So how are the training needs determined?
It's based on the needs of our community, and we've reached out to the people suffering from mental illness within Frederick City. We've also reached out to the deaf and hard of hearing population. We have trained and we've provided training to Maryland School for the Deaf. They've provided training to us. You know, the Frederick Police Department is very proactive in our training. We believe that training is essential to maintain a professional police department. We're constantly evaluating the training that our officers get, and that need is obviously given to us or precipitated by our population. We have a very large mentally ill population because of the Way Station in downtown Frederick. So from all over the county, they're coming to the Way Station to receive resources and guidance and counseling. So we come into contact with a large population of the mentally ill.
Training hours are determined by community needs. The Frederick County Sheriff's Office training hours between 2007 and 2008 declined dramatically. Another decrease in training occurred between 2010 and 2011.
We're responsible for funding all training. The Maryland Training Commission does not fund us for training. They set a mandate that's required for us to meet in order to maintain our certification. Any training that the department provides is funded or provided by the department. So for example, our training section of the 4 officers that are assigned to the training section, they identify the needs of the agency and they bring that training normally to the officers at an in-service session.
I asked Lieutenant Pennington if any changes were made after the death of Robert Saylor.
We look at every issue that happens not only locally but globally, and we try to take lessons learned from situations and bring them back to our officers. Immediately following this, we reiterated to our officers our general order that's written on dealing with the mentally ill. We covered that order. We covered in roll call, and we covered, in speaking with our officers at in service. So I can't comment on whether or not this situation was dealt with appropriately because I'm not briefed on it. It's not within my agency. But I can tell you the Frederick Police Department, tried to read up on the things that were being reported and tried to take back to our officers our training sessions.
The Frederick County officers were working off duty at the time of the incident. I asked if there were any restrictions in working after hours.
The Maryland Law Enforcement Officer Bill of Rights spells out that police departments are required to allow officers to conduct secondary employment as long as there are reasonable restrictions placed on it. So our department does have policy on secondary employment. We have officers put in applications and they have to renew them on an annual basis, spelling out exactly the details of what their secondary employment will encompass, and we make sure that it falls in line with our policy.
Does allowing our officers to work off duty make for a safer community?
I think as long as it's an assignment that is going to shed a positive light on the police department and it's going to add to the feeling of police omnipresence and safety.
Chief Ledwell admits that dealing with situations, sometimes you just have to think outside the box.
Well, I think that the importance lies in decision making, and if we can make that cultural within law enforcement, I think that's very beneficial. The ability to not only say, what am I entitled to under the authority of my position to take action legally, but also what's the best decision for this particular circumstance. And then to, at times, think outside the box, come up with creative solutions based on the people that we're dealing with, the situation as a whole. Are there alternatives that we can handle? Another big thing is that we now have many resources available to us that want to help us. Within Frederick, we have a mobile crisis team that responds out often, and we use them as a regular resource when we're dealing with people in crisis. And oftentimes, the people that we're dealing with have either mental health issues, mental disabilities, or other types of issues. And so we're not experts on everything in law enforcement, so we cherish that resource. And as long as it's not a situation that's an immediate danger, there's an emergency to life or health, then we often have times to call out that resource and utilize them to the benefit of the situation.
Coming up in the final part of Insight, I speak to State Attorney Charlie Smith regarding the Robert Saylor story. Until next time, cheerio.